Here we are.
Hey, how you doing?
That is the longest 5 minutes.
Yeah, it gives you a great chance to get all kinds of nervous. Good to see everybody. I see the chat's pretty active already. Awesome. Thanks for joining us today. I see Rob Stapleton is with me. I see JW Classic VW, VW Jawbreaker, and I'm sure some more folks are going to be on their way in. So good to see you all.
Yeah, and hopefully, if things are going well, I haven't had a chance to look, but we are simulcasting to both channels, mine and Brent's. So if you're watching on Brent's channel, good to see you.
Yep, good to see everybody here as well. It does appear like it's up and running. We're still kind of new at this, so there's always that that possibility that we blew it, but I think it's working. So if you're over on the Haptic Garage channel, let us know. Good to hear from you there too.
Yeah, so if you're on one or the other channels, you might miss out on some of the conversation. We haven't been able to work it out where we can have the chat all dialed into one place yet, but hopefully that'll come soon.
We'll get there.
Get there.
Technology is still a bit ahead of us, I think.
Oh yeah, Gary, yeah. I found a use for your sticker. There we go.
Nice. Yeah. Gary, my first comment about the background is it looks like PJs.
I think we got to do some stream viewers only PJs. So if you watch the stream, well, you can get a set of these PJs.
I see Barry over on the Haptic Garage channel. Good to see you too, Barry. Thanks for joining us. So we should probably just get right to it, Rob. Our goal today is to talk a little bit about the good things that happened last year and think positive about what's going to be happening this year. Most notably, what's happening in our shops. So Rob and I both have our own plans that we can share with you, but we also want to know what y'all are doing and have done. So pop that into the chat too. Like, what was the big thing that you worked on last year, even if you didn't get it done? And what are you planning on working on this coming year? So we thought those would be some pretty good stories to come from all the shops that you reside in, and we're looking forward to hearing some of that stuff.
I got distracted. Crazy, I don't know how it happened, but my phone started playing the stream through the speaker.
Great.
We're new to this. I have no idea how that could even happen, but it did.
Question for you, Rob. Gary wants to know, did you get the beetle?
Which beetle are we talking about? Because there's a couple of them. So I'm not sure it's what he's talking about. He might have heard something through inside sources.
Uh-oh. Are we giving something away here?
No, not really. It's all right. It's all right. So if he's talking about one from a local VW, it says, I don't know. One from one of the local VW parts vendors, I have not. But could happen still soon.
Cool. It'd be good to add another beetle to the mix.
Yeah, for me, obviously, I need something to work on that could create content as well. And I haven't had a beetle in a long time. So, I see. I'm bad with names. Breno Carlos Reese. A hug for all the Brazilians. Yeah.
Nice. Here you go. We have somebody from Brazil with us. Welcome. I see VW Restorations. He got to join us this time. Last time we did our stream just a little bit too late for him. He's over on the other side of the pond doing all kinds of great work on a bus right now. So if you haven't checked him out, check out the VW Restorations channel. He's got some pretty cool content to share with you too. But he's joined us, so good to hear from you, Restorations. Glad to see you. I see Aussie Beetle, so we're in Australia too. Thanks very much for being here. Always great to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. glad to see. It says, I'm working on my herd, and the 62 Gia was the favorite. I can see why. Those earlier Gias are just awesome. So hopefully you make some good progress in the coming months on that and see some cool stuff.
I think Australia
yeah,
have a pretty strong Volkswagen following because we get a lot of Australian viewers.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. That's someplace I'd like to be at some point to check that continent out.
Love to go there.
Yeah, very cool.
So it looks like JW Classic VW is going to be going to a 2332. Holy crap!
Who's doing that?
JW Classic VW.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but I don't know his name. I know the screen name. So
Jason,
what's your name?
That's Jason in Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a monster engine in Goose, his Beetle, and check his channel out as well. Lots of cool content over there.
Yeah.
Jason, did I hear you say something at some point about a turbo or something a little bit over the top like that for the next engine in Goose? Let us know if I'm just making that up or if there might be something to that.
I love a fast car. I tell you what.
It wouldn't take too much to make a Beetle feel like it was fast.
Yeah, it's true. I haven't gotten a chance to ride in Jawbreakers with his motor, but it's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds stout, that's for sure.
So also, we might try something a little new today. It's our second stream, but we're going on a limb here. If you want to join us live, we may bring someone in. Just send me an email to that VW Fabworks right there. And all you need is a phone, even. Something with a camera, and we can bring you in. Give it a shot.
That would be a fun experiment to see if we can make that work. We really don't have any idea on what it would look like, but just be mindful of what's behind you because we are streaming live. This is going out to the world right now. So think about that, but we certainly would love to have someone on if we can swing it. So like Rob said, he's put an email address up, vwfabworks@gmail.com. To contact Rob directly, and he can make the rest of the arrangements from there. He'll just be sending you a link that you click on, and you go through the join procedure. So maybe we'll get somebody to join us here, which would be kind of neat.
Yeah, and if you do show up, no swearing, just because we don't want to be demonetized. So if you do swear, you got to put $5 in the swear jar.
Payable to me.
Super chat, basically. So.
Aussie Beetle says, put Australia on your bucket list. That's sage advice right there. My folks got to go to Australia at one point and had only great things to say about it. But yeah, that'd be really, really cool.
So Jason says his is 300 horsepower, wheel horsepower. Seriously? Ooh.
Scary fact is right.
If we go back to the other project that Gary Jawbreaker might have been talking about, is basically a Baja, and my goal was to have 300 horsepower, which is kind of hard to do and keep it, not from blowing up. Because I'd be running probably 35-inch tires, so it's going to take a lot to make that happen. But that's pretty cool.
It's amazing to think about, configurations like that and similar really powerful power plants that are going into these VWs and compare it to the original design of the VW. Like they were not thinking of this way back when. They kept punching out the stock engine to get to 1600 cc, right? That's like a bored out, I think, a 1300. The cylinder walls just kept getting thinner, and they stopped there at 65 horsepower for the Type 1 power plant. So to see those engines from that original design making this crazy horsepower, it's pretty amazing. That spooks me a little bit. Like people like you, Rob, and Jason from JW Classic VW, and Gary from VW Jawbreaker have a lot more guts than I do. to push this engine design out to those extents. But you're doing it, and you're having a great time doing it. So I say more power to you, pun intended. It's just kind of amazing to see all that take place.
So Gary, Jawbreaker, is yours 300 horsepower? Do we know?
We had to be nice to you last time because it was your birthday, but now we're putting some pressure on.
Tiny with CES says exactly what I've been thinking. I don't have the money that it costs to get the transaxle that can hold up to 300 horsepower. That's the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah. You look at a VW transaxle and it's kind of small. There's not a lot of room for beefing those things up. And I believe they have a magnesium case too. So yeah, they can only hold so much force.
Yeah, especially when you add big tires.
Yeah. Yeah, that would put quite a load on it too. Barry asks, what's the largest jug you can put in an engine before you start to see light through the walls? I'm going to say, what is it, the 87s or the slip-in 88s? That's probably about it. Those are pretty thin themselves. It's like a razor blade. But yeah, great question. I know it's in jest, but good question. So cool. It's cool to see some of your responses coming through and what you've been working on and where you're going. So keep that coming for sure. Maybe Rob will see somebody pop up on his email at some point. I'm thinking maybe we go ahead and move into our own personal plans and histories here. Rob, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
No, go ahead.
All righty. So what did I do last year? Well, if you know about the Haptic Garage channel, you already know the answer to that. We got the bus in March. Honestly, the day that the whole COVID lifestyle that we've been living, terrible term for it, but the way we've been living with this pandemic and so on, it started on a day that I can identify. It was my last day at work in the old sense, and we transitioned over to operating a little bit differently after that. And it's also the day that I made the phone call to purchase the bus. We threw some numbers back and forth and made a deal on it. And so that's when the project started, and that became the first episode of the Vandemic series. So was working on that all last year. What I'm looking forward to this year is wrapping that project up. Rob, I think you have some pictures of a few of those things from Vandemic. But at any rate, yeah, I want to wrap that project up. It's not going to be called Vandemic in the future. It's just the bus right now. But I want to have that thing on the road. It's continued to move very well, and I don't want to give too much away here. If you're watching really close on YouTube, you might have seen some giveaways, but we're gonna wrap up the series on the channel and then move on to other things. And that kind of brings me to the second half of the topic today. And that's, all right, well, what do I want to do this year? Lots of things, more than I think I'll ever get done. But the stuff that I think is pertinent to our conversation today is, well, I want to experiment more with this live stream and some other video formats. And I also want to keep doing what I've been doing, except move back to the Dweezil project. So if you've seen that on the channel, you'll notice I had started that project and posted, I don't know, 4 or 5 videos of the build of Dweezil, a Baja bug. And we're a little deeper than the videos reveal, but I want to pick up where the project left off and get everybody caught up on that project's progress, and hopefully this year have that Beetle on the road. And I'm pretty excited about that. I'm having a ton of fun with the bus. Don't want to take anything away from that, but pretty excited about it. Check this picture out that Rob has up there. If you could go back one, Rob, that was when Dweezil was just as cut down as the car got. Here's a good shot of the pan, but I did a lot of things all at once on that car. The front clip had been Baja-fied, if I can make up a word. And there wasn't enough left even to put a proper Baja kit on it. It was just so smashed up. So I had to put a new front clip on it. And what worked for me was to, there's the shot right there, was to find the remains of a beetle that a guy had made into a trike. So if you think about what goes into a trike, you don't need the front clip at all, right? All the rear end of the car is what goes into a trike, some portion of it, right? Sometimes they keep some of the body, and a lot of times they don't even do that. But I got the front clip off of a 69 Beetle and grafted it on to the front of Dweezil to complete the body. But at the same time that we were moving A-pillars around and all that stuff, we were doing the pans and the heater channels. And while I wouldn't advise somebody to do all of that at once, it did give me the opportunity to make sure that everything aligned exactly as I wanted it to. That, you know, lots of moving parts all at once, but with a million test fits and checking and checking and checking and checking, it actually worked out. And the doors are aligned how they're supposed to be. They close nice and solid. The body of the car feels solid, and I'm ready to finish up all the body work. And that's really what's next. So that's where we're going with Haptic Garage, is trying to bring content to you a few different ways this year and wrap up the Dweezil project. And I couldn't be more excited about diving into all of that. So pretty cool stuff. What you got, Rob?
So on your Dweezil project, where in these, I got 3 pictures there. Which, I mean, it's not just a pan right now, right? You got the body back together now, right?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and reveal some spoilers here. In the last video, I had stripped it all the way down to that picture of the pan that you had there. I've redone the pan. I want to share all that with you. It involves sandblasting and POR 15, kind of like we did the brake parts and the wheels for Vandemic or Project Vandemic. So I'll catch you up on that progress, and the chassis is fully built and finished. In fact, if you go back far enough in the series, you'll see a romp around the yard in the Beetle before I tore it all apart. Well, I've gotten to do that with just the pan. So the pan is all put together, suspension put together, and it's ready to go. Brakes work great as far as I can tell. I mean, it's pretty light in that state, so the brakes haven't really been tested. But yeah, it's a running and driving pan. And so next up, in real time here, is to finish all the body work, and I'm going to have some fun with that because I want to change some things. I want to do a few mods and take a little bit of artistic license with the body. Should be cool.
Well, hopefully you had cameras rolling when you drove the pan around.
I did. Took a couple of friends and neighbors for a ride in it too.
Is it really in it, or is it on it?
Oh, what's that? Oh, on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a 65 horsepower skateboard.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing some more of it and sharing it with everybody.
Well, what takes most of my time, and I'm kind of feeling we're getting a delay on the picture, so I don't know when they're coming through. But for me, I don't know if you can see that yet, but it's been all last year and a couple years before. There's been this Ford Bronco. So can you see that yet, Gary? I mean,
see it now.
Brent?
Yeah, I see it now, and then there's a delay getting to YouTube, but they'll get all that at the same time.
Right. So this is about the stage it is in right now, but it's been a long time coming. So all last year, we got pretty far with it. I say we, meaning me. But after, I had a goal of being done with this thing by December 25th, Christmas, and missed that by a long shot. So, so hopefully soon. I'm into the final stages of it now, wiring and AC, stuff like that. It's been a long time coming. I got some pictures, some stuff I showed you yesterday, Brent, but just some fab work, some metal work. This is a bracket for the control arms or the radius arms. Just kind of made them my own, TIG welded them all up. So what they used to look like was they had a spot for 2 shocks on there, and they just, to me, they look pretty crappy, to be honest with you. So I was trying to clean them up a bit and made them look a little cooler. And then if you can see them there on the frame, kind of hanging down. You can see there's a front plate and a back plate there that I did. Stuff like that. And then pretty much everything I've done on this thing has been one-off for the most part. So that there's part of the radiator fan shroud, which is actually Ryan's design. He came up with that, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to use that." And he's like, "No problem." So it's all aluminum, and you use basically it's a electric fan out of a Mustang, and yeah. Show a couple pictures there. That's a bulkhead that I built to basically make the inside of the cab a little bit bigger, because the early Bronco, there's no room on the inside. So, but that's pretty much that project. Did those kind of sync up with me explaining them, or?
They seem to be a little slow, but it got the point across. I just can't get over how awesome that work is. That, just the craftsmanship that you're getting out of all of that. It really speaks to the kind of work that you do on a day-to-day. Like, you're a fabricator, you're a car builder, and you just do some of that pro level stuff, and it's evident in some of the pictures you were just sharing of your Bronco. That's awesome stuff.
I have a real hard time just doing basic stuff.
Me too.
A lot of I mean I don't mean it like that. More like if somebody just says, "Hey, can you build me this little box for something," or whatever it is, and I'm like, "Sure." And most people would build a little box, but then I'll have to make it up and above just a little box, like adding the little these adding those plates on top of that bracket. They didn't have to be there. It was fine the way it was. It would have been fine, but I wanted it to look cooler. So it's Ryan's the exact same way. He cannot just do something boring and plain. We got to take it to the next level. So
that's cool. I think that's important for getting the maximum satisfaction out of what you're doing, right? I mean, it's good enough just to be in the shop messing around with stuff, but it's so much better when we like the result that we get out of it, like it matches our vision or exceeds it to some extent, and we can move on to enjoy it in some way. For this Bronco, that'll be handing it back to the customer and seeing them be satisfied. For some of us, maybe namely me, it's taking a drive and making it home is a big sort of satisfaction. But, for all that to work, you kind of have to know thyself, right? You kind of have to know, what is the look that speaks to you? For me, it's always been a vehicle that looked used and maintained, right? Not used up, not neglected, but I like the look of a wrench mark on the fasteners, right? Not a rounded off fastener, but one that I know that that's a part of the vehicle or the engine or whatever it is that's been attended to. And that, to me, has its own look without having to go out of your way to create a look. But I think for a lot of folks, that's the way to get there, right? Is to have this vision of a look that you want to create and then somehow pull it off. Like those brackets that you were just showing us, they have a look and they contribute to the overall look of the vehicle. And I think if you're consistent throughout the build, then you have something that looks like it was meant to be that way, and that'd have to be satisfying now that you're in a position to kind of look back at the project up to this point and see how all that played out.
Yeah, there's some builders that I can look at their I can see a car and I can say, I bet that was built by so and so. Like there's a lot of things that Ryan does that I'm like, that's Ryan's style, and he's doing it on the Winnebago project. Which, by the way, the Winnebago project, the next one in the series 5, is going to premiere immediately after this stream. I've got it scheduled for 3:15, but if we end a little early, which I hope we do. I'm going to start it right away. So go over to my channel if you're not on it. And if you're on it now, just click over to the page and check out the latest antics of Ryan and his Winnebago. So I see Jawbreaker says, I'm lucky to even knock out basic fab work. So hey man, you built a heck of a cup holder in the Jawbreaker. So
you're doing some pretty cool stuff, Gary, and I know you've gotten a little bit of a speed bump here with the ankle injury, but we know you're going to be back at it and do some really cool things with the new Beetle. Not like the new Beetle as in new Beetle, but as in new to you. That I keep calling the 60. I keep lobbying you to call it the 60 with like a SIKXTY or something like that. But whatever you decide to call it, because it's your car, is going to be awesome to see what you do with it. And I know there's going to be a lot more fabrication to come there. Let me catch up for a second. Jason was asking me about what tires and so on. I think I'm going to put 15-inch 235/75s on there, probably just some Goodyear Wranglers. I basically have that size available to me right now, and they'll need to be replaced pretty soon. And I don't know that I'm going to do a lift. When I put the suspension together, I tried to get it stock height, and I think I nailed it. It's level side to side. So I think I'm where it's going to be. So it'll basically be stock height unless I have some big fender rubbing issues. But I've got some ideas to maybe prevent that as well. So the tires aren't going to be terribly huge. I'm sticking with 15-inch rims and probably something like truck tires on the front. So not like a crazy off-road bashing thing, but still has some of its Baja roots in it. The front won't look like that, but you can be able to tell from the back that that's what its former life was. But yeah, thanks for the question, though.
So VW Restorations, yes, we are streaming to 2 different platforms. Kinda, we're both on our own YouTube channels. So it's simulcasting basically from my channel to Haptic Garage. So if you're not seeing all the chat, that's why you could do what I did and pop up the chat from both channels. I got them side by side right up here. It's kind of hard to follow both, but I can see them both. And that's one of the challenges that come ahead to when we keep this or get this stream to where we want it to be. It's kind of nice to be able to share the audience, but we want to have everybody together eventually. So
yeah, that's like the final piece of the puzzle, really, is to get all the chat showing up on both channels. And we're using software called Restream, and there's kind of a sketchy workaround way to make it happen, and we're just looking for the solid solution to pull that off. But for now, we're quite happy relaying as we have been, and we certainly greatly appreciate the interaction. So I'm seeing you over on my channel there, Restorations. With that question, it would be really interesting if that's how it got over to Rob's,
yeah.
Or if you popped over, which is also fine, and chatted on both of them. Either way is fine.
Yeah. So JW Classic VW Jason says, I can't wait to get a real welder. What kind of welder? I mean, if you have a welder, it's a real welder. What do you have? What is it? two batteries and some cable?
I've heard of people using a car battery and a coat hanger to do stick welding, but I'm not sure I would recommend it.
I've done it. It ain't pretty.
I bet it wouldn't be.
I've got a MIG welder. It's like a spool gun that runs off batteries.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I never use it, but if you were, a Jeep guy, say maybe me in my former Jeep life, you could take that with you on the trail, and if you break parts, you can weld them right up.
If you were out somewhere and got in trouble, that would be worth its weight in gold.
Mm-hmm. Or if you wanted to weld somebody's door shut for a prank or something, yeah, anything.
Jason, the thing about your situation that's inspiring to me, well, one of the things is what you're doing in that space. You're really accomplishing a lot with the amount of space that you have there, and it's pretty cool to look at what you're using to get it done, and then to see what you've accomplished with that car. It's nothing short of amazing. So it's pretty cool stuff. So coming from there really makes you appreciate each little upgrade. I know that's the way that it plays out for me too. So it'll be cool to continue to see what cool things you do on your channel with the car.
So I've watched some of his videos, and I feel his pain because I think he's in Texas, and it is hot there like it's hot here.
Yeah.
And when it's hot, it's no fun making videos when it's hot, I tell you. Ooh.
I'm going to do some
welder, get an ace air conditioner for your garage.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? I'm going to do some catching up here. I heard from VW618. Good to hear from you, man. He says that he got the body off the pan last year on a 69 bug, and then 2021 he's going to continue doing some upgrades, including disc brakes and an air ride. So it's going to look really cool too, and it'll stop, which I hear is really important. Barry says that we miss all of our time estimates. Yep. Here's the king of that. Things take 2, 3, 4 times longer than I ever would guess that they take. So if you can relate, we have some camaraderie. What do they call it? Solidarity in never being able to estimate how long it's going to take to do a project. Let me go ahead, Rob.
Well, then when you add in having to film it, it takes a lot longer.
Yep.
We've done, Ryan and I have done videos where it's something, the simplest thing that should take 20 minutes and it'll take 4 hours. But
yep,
it's what you gotta do.
It's cool though. When you look back at footage, you're like, wow, I did that, or at least that's how I react to it. And I know that it probably takes me even longer to edit the thing together anyway. So yeah, who cares? It's all in fun, right?
Yep.
But it does add a little bit of complexity and a little bit of time to the process to capture it. It's just, I'm willing to do all of that to get to you all, to have this kind of interaction and to be able to share the hobby with the greater group. So all the technology struggles and all that stuff, it's nothing compared to how cool it is to share this stuff.
I love this right here where we're talking with everybody. And now this time, like last time, I couldn't really see the chat, what was going on. So it's a little better this time. Hopefully I'll get my setup nailed down. But yeah, I love it. And if, again, if you do want to join us live and be the first one to be a guest, send an email to vwfabrics@gmail.com and let us know in the chat that you did that so I can go check.
Yeah, cool. We were hearing from VW Nut 1967. Good afternoon to you as well. Always great to see you. And thanks for the shout out, the pitch there for everybody to hit the thumbs up button. So thank you, VW Nut 1967. Appreciate your support and having you here with us. Backyard Combi says, how did you start your car hobby? That'd probably be a good question for both of us, Rob. What age and what was the learning process? So I think I mentioned this a little bit in our last live stream, that it was kind of Legos for me and coaster go-karts. If I could find the wheels off of a lawnmower, a bicycle, whatever, I would find some scrap wood and fashion together some kind of a coaster go-kart. And I lost count of how many of those things I built. And they were all death traps, but they were a lot of fun. So that kind of gave me the on-ramp to the car hobby. And as soon as I could find something with a steering wheel on it, I was all about it. It took me a while, but I basically had to turn 16 and get a license. But I got there, and let me see. What was the learning process? Yeah, trial and error was the learning process. My dad did a wonderful thing for me in not telling me no. I'd mess around with his tools. I'd lose some of them. I'd get into all kinds of trouble in my pursuits, but he let me do it. And that was an awesome, awesome thing. And so my learning process was trying to imagine an outcome and then trying to make it happen. And it wasn't always that great of a result, but that process continues today, and I'm able to do errands in an old car. And I just really like being the guy that can do that. So whatever learning process works for a person in what resources they have and what talents or lack of they may have, that's the way to go. You just never lose sight of the dream to be the one that can work on a car and have it continue to run and drive to your satisfaction.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I don't remember ever not being into cars. I mean, from, Pinewood Derbies and whatever. We growing up, we had a gas station, which was basically a service station. They sold gas too and all that, but always been around cars and really didn't get really into it until probably high school. And we had our high school had the vocational auto mechanics class, which was, a 3-hour class every day. So got to spend a lot of time and learned a lot there. And that's really what got me, more into it as opposed to being an enthusiast. Started actually really working on stuff. Tore my first motor apart in that class. So it was pretty cool. Got to learn a lot.
That was something I hope I didn't misunderstand you, Rob, that you had a class that you were able to be a part of in school. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was catching up on chat at the same time, so forgive me, but that was something my high school did not have. They had quite the sports team, but not a lot in the way of auto body and that kind of thing. And I sure hope that starts to come back if it hasn't already. Man, there's some really great opportunities for folks.
That shop we had, it was like a dealership. So we had all the latest and greatest tools, and you could work on your own stuff there. Sometimes you could bring it in and work on it during class or after class, if you had a project. So I think last stream we talked about my first car, which was the 1979 Ford Pinto wagon. So I don't have a picture of it, but and
the way you say it is the funny part.
It was a love-hate relationship with that car. But so I was at a gas station in that car and getting gas, and I go to start it and it wouldn't start up. I was like, what's going on with this thing? So of course I'm in the school and we could take it to the class. I took it to the shop and we put a big old breaker bar on the crank, the bolt there, and tried to turn it over. The thing would not turn over, locked up solid. So spent the next day or so. No. Yeah. Ford Pinto 2.3. Yeah. Locked up.
And that happened at the gas station?
Yeah. So we towed it to the shop, got it there, figured out the motor was locked up. So found a used motor at a junkyard, and this is in school, and got a motor there. So get it up on the lift, went to take it apart. And one of the first thing you do when you pull a motor is pull the inspection plate off the bottom of the trans. I pulled that off, and a little pebble about that big fell out of the cover. I was like, no. And yep, so as soon as that cover fell out, we went to crank it, started right up. No problem.
It was just lodged between the flywheel teeth and the bell housing or something?
Yeah. I mean, how does that happen?
That's awesome. Like, you want it to be that easy.
Oh, it was great. I didn't want to change a motor. I didn't want to learn how to change a motor then. So
it might feel a little silly, but yeah, that's a relief at that point.
Oh yeah.
I had a Nissan pickup. I actually had 4 of those things before I bumped it up to a full-size truck eventually. But one of the clutches that went out on one of them, it wasn't the clutch disc itself that went bad, like the pad that you find on the clutch disc. It was one of those springs that's supposed to make it, a little smoother operating. Busted out of its little cage on the clutch disc and found its way in there to lock things up. And
Wow.
it felt like the clutch had gone out, but it not in the traditional sense. Still had to do the same job, right? It was still pull the transmission back and replace everything. But yeah, the spring actually came out of its little cage, and that locked it up in a similar fashion.
I've never seen that happen. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I hadn't either. Not that I had a bunch of experience changing clutches, but yeah, I looked at that. I'm like, huh, that's weird. But there it was.
So Adam,
1967 says all trades should be a part of school. I'm with you, buddy. I think that'd be a great thing for some of these vocations to make their way back into high school education and beyond. So I hear you.
in junior high or whatever they call it, wherever you are. And at junior high, I mean, my first year, 7th grade, I had a woodworking class, which, I don't work with wood now, but it's nice to know some of that. But after that, I mean, I had metal shop and learned how to, braze and all that stuff. So when you can weld or do anything, or even the wood stuff, it can save you a lot of money down the road, fixing stuff yourself.
Yeah, it would signal to me that it was okay to be handy again. So not just the things that we're into, but the other trades too, like plumbing and electrician work, and you just mentioned carpentry and masonry and so many other trades. It's a point of pride for someone who knows how to do something that's of value to others, and that really works well when you can figure out how to provide that value and capture that value and sustain the vocation. That's called making a living, right?
Yeah, I think, and if you learn even if you're just a plumber or whatever you are, you kind of get some technical savvy about you when you learn things like that, so you can do other things. Like, I'm not a plumber, but I could change a toilet if I had to, because I know how to use a wrench. So
Yep.
So yeah, and I had to over Christmas, by the way, which I don't want.
I changed one Yeah, plumbing's got to be my least favorite thing to do, but I know enough about it to really respect the pros.
Yeah, I tried to call him in, but it was Christmas Eve, and nobody was coming out.
Yeah, you don't want to be thinking about a toilet on Christmas Day.
No, no, it's terrible.
It's quote of the day. So Adam says he's embarrassed to mention all the unfinished projects. 2021, first things first, he wants to put the nose and the cab floor back on the 76 Westie. Well, I think you're going to get it done, Adam. So very cool. Do it right. Take your time. Make sure everything's lined up nice, which I know you would have done anyway. But I'm rooting for you. And I think by the end of 2021, your Westie will no longer be noseless or floorless. It won't be the Red Flintstone Westie anymore. So that'll be really cool to see you get that done. Backyard Combi asks, Brent, do you have a history with radio or film? And he's complimenting about the episodes. Well, thank you for that, Backyard Combi. I really appreciate that. Not really is the answer, but there's a little more to it. As far as radio is concerned, I did a non-commercial thing for a quarter or two in college with the college radio station. But after all of that, after college was over with, I got into audio. So I've got an audio engineering background and a lot about electricity and electronics in the 20 years or so that has passed. So I've been around production. I've got a lot of great coworkers that do live events and studio recording and that kind of thing. And some of their wisdom has rubbed off here and there. The biggest thing that goes into these videos is time. I'm not fast at it. I'm really, really slow. If anybody's wondering, the next one's on the way. I haven't changed over totally to live streams or anything. I'm really loving this, but the next episode of Project Vandemic is coming up very soon, and I want to follow it up with another one after that within a month or so. But thanks for the compliment, Backyard Comedy. I really appreciate that. Pretty cool.
And I like to call Brent the Tom Bodette of the Volkswagen YouTube world.
We've joked before that the tagline would be, I'm Brent with Haptic Garage and we'll leave the shop light on for you.
You got to put that, you got to start putting that at the end of all your videos.
Yeah. That'd be funny. We get a hello from Belgium, from Davey Boskart. I hope I've said your last name correctly, but hey, welcome. Good to have you with us, Davey, all the way from Belgium. I have a dear friend that lived in Belgium for a little while.
I'd like to go to Belgium. I like to go to a lot of places.
Travel's awesome. Yeah.
It's kind of hard right now.
Backyard Comedy says, yeah, he's totally Tom.
You know, we could do, we got a little bit of time left. Hold on here.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little bit of time. And speaking of your channel, I went back in the history of your channel. I think I've told you this is one of my favorite things on there, but
is something about to be sprung on me here? Should I be nervous?
Yeah, but it's here, just
all right,
it.
I'm game.
Just sit back. Here we go.
Today at Haptic Garage, we're making charcoal and fire.
I love your laugh. You're like, oh, and then, but wait, there's more. Then the end. I think this is your closing part. Here, check that out.
Why not?
Did you scratch your underarm?
I did, like an ape.
I love that episode. It's great.
It actually has historical significance and current significance. First, it was the first thing that I uploaded. At that time, I was thinking, okay, and my channel trailer, which is terribly outdated right now, it was, okay, we're going to do camping and outdoor cooking, which is what Making Lump Charcoal was about, and working in the garage on an RV, and yeah, there's a VW here too, and right? Because all these things, and I've obviously focused quite a bit on VW right now. I would like to bring some of those topics in the future when it makes sense too, but that was the first thing. That was the first video that I completed. I was happy with and put up on the channel. And today it normally outperforms all the other videos that I've been putting up, which is a little perplexing because that's not the direction of the channel. But when I look at the list of videos and what the views in the last however long is and so on, a lot of the times that that lump charcoal video is at the top of the list. So yeah, can't argue with it. It's fine.
Hey, it's got to be what helped you figure out how to do the smoked bacon that we had. VW Jawbreaker and Ryan and I enjoyed it a couple years ago at Bug Jam.
Yeah, that's actually in, I think, your video from Bug Jam 2019.
Yep.
Or 2018. But yeah, you featured that. You were doing a pretty cool, like, what's the nightlife like at Bug Jam? And that was one of the segments in there. We made some smoked bacon in that little propane tank smoker that I carry around on the camper.
That was a extremely long video, 20 something minutes, something like that, and extremely difficult because I had so much footage, but I wanted to show everything that happens, and it's hard to do that, but yeah, I kind of pulled it off a little.
I think you pulled it off, and I know you like the videos to be a little shorter, but 20 minutes doesn't scare me. That's cool. I think you can fill up 20 minutes with some interesting stuff from just about any bug jam because they're always so much fun.
Yeah, last year was a good one too, but we didn't smoke any bacon. What happened?
What, this time?
Yeah,
we were busy running around doing a couple of different video projects. It was a very different experience at Bug Jam this year, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I had a great time, and so yeah, part of the cost of that was smoking the bacon. But I'm about to lose my video here, so I'm going to do a quick changeover. Rob, if you want to catch up on chat or something, I'll be right back in.
Okay. Yeah, so I see VW Restorations. You all been getting more time on the projects during Corona? I guess that's a question. Or you all been at work? I have had so much going on with the Bronco, trying to get that finished. It's been a pretty big deal. And then I think COVID hurt a bit, and it affected people around us, I guess. So but I've been staying pretty busy, and with trying to do the YouTube videos, it made it a little bit more difficult to do some of the YouTube videos. Just getting out there and doing some things. So that's been part of it. Ryan has been extremely busy. So as far as, doing YouTube stuff with Ryan, it's been a little more difficult because you should see his shop. I mean, it is jam-packed full of stuff. So, but yeah, it's, I don't think COVID has really hurt much. It's just being busy in general. So. Are you with us? I can see.
Yeah, I'm back.
I didn't know if he could hear you.
Yeah, I should be back on now.
Good.
Cool. Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. I see Davey. He says Davey Boskart from Belgium. He's saying he might buy a Type 2 bay window soon, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so I hope that goes through for you, man. That'll be an awesome project. Maybe it's ready to go. I don't know, but I like the bay windows, right? I know the Splitties have a lot of charm, and that nose, you can't beat that. There's no VW with more charm, in my opinion, than a Splitty. But I have a 68 double cab. I was chatting with a commenter on one of the videos the other day, and I really look forward to seeing it. For one thing, it's got more legroom in the front, so I think it'll be a much more comfortable vehicle to drive around. So yeah, you can't go wrong with a bay window bus either. They've got some pretty big advantages, especially when you get into the Type 4 engine, 72 and on. Those are supposedly a lot beefier than the Type 1 engine. So yeah, enjoy that, man. That's pretty cool. So you got hopefully something to work on in 2021.
Yeah, I had a later Type 2.
Nice.
I liked it. Hauled my band gear around all over the country.
These things, they're workhorses. They'll talk to you. They'll tell you what they need, and as long as you answer the call and do your part, they'll put in some good work for you.
Yeah, I mean, I drove that thing like up through the mountains and all that. And one of my base cabinets, it was an Ampeg 810, and they're 165 pounds just for that one cabinet. Plus my rack. Plus I had a 118 Ampeg and then a 410 Hartkey amp. We're probably getting way out there with some of you. They have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that stuff is heavy, and that little bus still made it through all the mountains and everything. Loaded down, did a good job.
That's awesome. It's cool to have a hobby that nets you something useful. In fact, I have used that excuse to justify my old car hobby before. I'm like, well, if I get this bus running, I won't put as many miles on my commuter truck. It gets better mileage, and I enjoy it, and so on. And so if you can get some like practical usefulness out of it, I mean, weekend rides are great, but through the week, if you can do some of your business with the vehicle, then it kind of starts to pay for itself. And that's pretty cool, right? You can do some pretty cool things with these cars.
Yeah. And that reminds me of my 2021 project. Here we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't gotten to that yet, have we? I know you want to wrap up the Bronco, but we haven't seen your 2021.
So there's my smart car, and I think I'm going to try to fit those wheels and tires on it. What do you think?
That would be like, well, see if I can think of something clever on the spot. I'm trying to do something with Gravedigger because it looks like a monster truck. But it's obviously quite a bit smaller than a monster truck.
I tell you what, I bought that car really for like bug jam and stuff like that to haul my camera gear around. And we used it for last bug jam. But I love that car. I drive it every day now. It's great.
I got to cruise around with you in it at Bug Jam, which was a lot of fun. We got, I think, a sign off from Gary at VW Jawbreaker. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. Good to see you again.
Yeah, and we are going to sign off here very soon as well. So thanks for hanging out, Gary. Appreciate that.
Before we go, Joe's Rust Buckets from Ireland is with us right now. So good to see you as well. That's super cool.
That's definitely one place I want to go to.
Yeah, Joe says it's a bobcat. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's kind of like a bobcat without the bucket.
Yeah, little skid steer.
Davey says that splitties are expensive where he is, and yeah, they can be expensive here.
Anywhere.
I think I walked into a unique situation myself, but yeah, they're pricey now. They have such wide-ranging appeal. I meant to do this at the beginning. I want to give a shout out to good old Mike. If you haven't heard of good old Mike, he's been doing some podcasts recently and had some awesome guests. He shared our video yesterday, so I just wanted to thank him for doing that. I love the exposure, getting the word, helping us get the word out that we were going to be doing this today. So thanks very much, good old Mike, for sharing the scheduled video that we sent out yesterday. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And to go along with the much more interesting guests, I'm going to get to appear on his podcast in February. So
nice.
Catch up on what he's been posting, and then look for that because I'll be over on his channel for one of his episodes next month. And I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun with that.
Wow, you get an invite and I don't.
Yeah. Oh, it's because I sound like Tom Bodette and you don't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I got the crappy voice.
You got to sound more folksy.
I'm not even gonna try. I'm just gonna try, but nah, ain't worth it. So, we got anything else, or we're gonna try to keep this under an hour? We're close.
We're pretty much right on the mark. Yeah, I'd thank everybody for being a part of this. It's super cool to see people showing up again. Like, who would have thunk it?
It's fun. It's interesting because it's like we're trying to have a conversation with people who are just texting in front of us, but it's fun. I want to get them if next week or when the next one is, hopefully next week, we'll get some guests in here. We got some regular guests that are going to show up, but I'd like to get some of the people in the chat on. So save that. Where'd it go? Save that email.
Yeah.
And there it is.
And Ryan, if you're watching, we missed you today. So we're going to get Ryan on here at some point. I'll just go ahead and put that out there.
So I imagine it will be after the Winnie is, after the rear of the Winnie is done, which is getting close. And by the way, don't forget, as soon as we're done, check out the episode 5 of the Winnie build coming up. Premiering live. We can go over there and chat. We can continue the chat over there.
You're doing the premiere, I think, right?
Yeah, over on my channel. So if you're watching
over on Rob Stapleton's channel, so make sure you go there as soon as if you're not already there, as soon as our stream is over here in a moment. But yeah, want to encourage everybody to, after the premiere's over, of course, get out in your garage and do a little bit, right? Do a little bit every chance that you get. And you know how it is. Even if you force yourself to get moving and do some stuff, you're tired after a long week at work or whatever, us hobbyists have to deal with. You're always glad you did it. You look back on what you achieved and it kind of keeps you going, right? And you just want to carry that energy all the way right back into the garage to keep getting things done. Because while we spend a lot of time in the shop working towards something, eventually we get there and the fun just multiplies and you get to take your project out on the road. So do a little bit every chance that you get and keep letting us know how it's going, because we love hearing from you.
Yeah, we might have to carry this project conversation on in another one because people are working on stuff.
Yeah. I was laughing at something I saw in chat. Barry says, keep the light on.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing we haven't done for our stream yet is do a closing song or video, whatever we're going to do. So maybe we need to do something with that.
Yeah, record some kind of a spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, back to what you were saying, Rob, this topic can live several lives. So yeah, we can look at what people are up to and what we're up to over and over again, because we just don't stop, right? We're gonna keep at it and keep working on our projects in the shop.
Yep. So with that, I think we're done.
Yeah. Thanks everybody once again for being here with us. Keep an eye out for future streams. We haven't really settled into a schedule yet. We have fairly packed content schedules, either in the editing process or the various different types of live streams and podcasts that each of us want to get involved in. So just kind of keep your eye out for the notice to go out from Rob or myself or both. And I expect you'll be seeing us do a live stream again in the near future.
Yep. And meet us over for the premiere video, which is only 12 minutes long. I can suffer through that. And
looking forward to it. I'm going to be there.
Let's go over there and chat right now.
All righty. Great. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks for hanging out.